up, famo? What's the word? Calling? We gonna take it right here. We gonna take it right here, Moors. Peace and love to all the Moors, all the Muslims. It's super windy out here, but we still gonna get it. Got a little time between times right now, but we still gonna get it. Hey, you know what's real interesting to me? First of all, shout out to my brother Truth Ali, and shout out to all y'all out there that actually do the work. You study, you a critical thinker. You're not out here on follower time. A lot of people be out here on follower time. A lot of people are scared to get into it when it comes to the real literature. They don't want to get into the real literature. They want to just get into belief time, following time. That ain't gonna change nothing though. You having a belief, I don't care how much conviction, how strong you is, how much you feel about it. That ain't gonna change nothing. And the whole time, the main people that's like that is really scared of the truth. You want the truth, you yap, you complain about the truth. Then when the truth is presented to you, the first thing you say is, nah, that shit can't be real. So in a way, you your own problem. You in the way of yourself, complaining about, ain't nothing changed out here. Ain't nothing gonna change if your mentality's still the same. Think about that. Hold up. Let's go right here. Let me show y'all something, man. Let me show y'all something. This is what I'm talking about right here. If you ain't got this book yet, get this book in your life. If you want some information about what's really going on, get this book right here, written by my bro right here. Get this book in your life. We are not black. We not. But you say this to somebody, you know what? This spell, hey, look, that black spell, because people will be like, man, Kush, man, you talk about the same stuff over and over and over. Because the truth don't change. It don't pass away. The problem is people, they in their mind, they got different flavors of the truth. They got a concept that then came out of nowhere because CIA programming, that it's a personal thing. Like when somebody say, my truth, I'm going to speak my truth. That shit cap. Or she say, she's speaking her truth. You know how illiterate you sound when you say that out loud amongst people that know better? You know how illiterate you sound. There's no such thing as my truth. This ain't Kush Day truth. This ain't whoever else truth. It's only one truth. And the truth is the truth, and it don't change or pass away. It is what it is. But unfortunately, though, a lot of people are comfortable being lied to. As much as they talk shit about, man, tell me the truth. I want to know the answers. Then as soon as they get the answer, they deny the answer. You in your own way. Let me show you this right here. Look. Let me show you this right here. You got to see this. You got to see this. You see this artwork right here? See this artwork? You pick up the book, We Are Not Black. You will see actual artwork, images, documentation. Because pictures speak 1,000 words. Our ancestors know how the mind functions. Not they know how the mind functions. They know if you show a picture of an image of your history, it'll automatically reconnect you back to your history. That's why we built things like this. This is why we drew things like this. These are not images of Indians. This picture right here, you can find it in London, in Germany. The same type images. See? These ain't no Indians right here. These are Moorish people all around the world. How can you tell? Look at the feathers. Look at their crowns. Look at their dress, how they dress. Riding on elephants. This is how you know. Palm trees be in the background. Where are palm trees indigenous to? All you gotta do is look at the land. Palm trees are indigenous to the Americas, not Africa. So when they tell you nonsense like everybody came from Africa, How you come from Africa and palm trees are not indigenous to Africa? Explain that one, genius. For all these fake smart people that's out there, how you come from Africa and palm trees are only indigenous to the Americas? So how you come from Africa again? Right. This is how they want us to stay programmed. Don't ask no questions. Just go with the same narrative that you've been told. But when you think about it, palm trees are only indigenous to the Americas, just like the fruit. The fruit, the veggies that we eat over here in the Americas, they're indigenous to the Americas because the Americas is the promised land. The Americas is the Garden of Eden. Everything came out of here first. This is why we different. This is why everybody around the world, they emulate the Americans. Why y'all emulate the Americans for? I'm talking about from positive culture to negative culture. This ain't no disrespect to people that's from overseas. Nah, we just got to keep it how we keep it though. The land that popped up out of the water first was the Americas. North, South, Central, all the Caribbean islands, including Hawaii over there. Look, let me show you what I mean. And how everybody know. Look, everybody know. Watch this. Everybody know. Let me show you how everybody know. Look. You ever heard of this guy right here? This guy. The dude that's on the $100 bill. You ever heard this guy? We getting straight to it. Real receipts. This guy, you heard him before, right? Dude that's on the $100 bill. Benjamin Franklin. You heard of him before, right? You heard of that guy? This is a direct quote from what he said in 1751. So all y'all out there that's like, no, we not Moorish American. We're black people. We African Americans. We Pan-African. Do you realize Benjamin Franklin knows that you're a Moor? He knew that you was a Moor. How? Let me show it to you. He said what? All Africa is tawny. Asia chiefly tawny. America exclusive of the newcomers, wholly so. In Europe, the Spaniards, French, Italians, Russians, and Swedes are generally of what we call a swarthy complexion. So are the Germans also. Hold on, wait a minute. So, Benjamin Franklin, the guy that's on a $100 bill, that guy was calling us swarthy, tawny. Do yourself a little research. Dive down a little research hole yourself. Look up what swarthy means and tawny means. This is where we got to stop bridging the gap. The gap has to be bridged by looking up definitions to words from the past. If you don't look up nothing, you're going to stay in the same mentality that's like closed-minded and you're in a box. You can't get nowhere in the black box, Latino box, Indian box, Pan-African box, African-American box. Your mind is closed off from real research. So Benjamin Franklin knew what time it was. He called us tawny and swarthy. He didn't call us black. Here it is again, right here. Benjamin Franklin know you were more. But you still out here thinking you a black person. And then you got people like this. Look, you got people that say, well, it says black in the book. Somebody is telling you the truth and somebody's lying to you at the same time. So when they tell you that you was a black person, this is how you know it's cap. Watch this. Watch this. You need to see this. You need to see this. You really need to see this. I'm going to show you this right here. Okay? From the book. We are not black. From this book. Hold up. It's windy out here. Let's go right here. Alright, let's go right here. It's super windy out here. Look. So it says Negro. The word Negro means a black man. One descendant from the African race and does not commonly include a mulatto. Listen to the language. But the laws of the different states are not uniform in this respect. Some including the description, Negro, one who has 1/8 more of African blood. Now watch this. This is where you like, hold up, wait a minute. I thought mulattoes was black people. I thought Negroes and everybody else, they was all the same. This is from a law book. All right. This is from Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, the deluxe. What does it say? It say, term, quote unquote, Negro means necessarily person of color, but not every person of color is Negro. Oh, let me just leave that on there for a second. Let me just leave that on there for a second, because this is where we got to start bridging the gap. It's not about how I feel about something. It's not about an opinion about something. This is from a law book. The term Negro means necessarily person of color, but not every person of color is Negro. You know what's interesting? Just to add on to that, Abraham Lincoln had a case where he defended a guy named William Dungy. Now, William Dungy, his name was being slandered all through the town. Quick history. If you want to do a little trivia on it. William Dungy's name was being slandered all around the town that he was in. They was slandering his name, right? Throwing his name in the mud, right? So he picked Abraham Lincoln, who was an attorney at the time. So Abraham Lincoln went before the court, and he gave a famous quote that said, just because his skin may not be as light as ours, he said, this man is not black. He said he's a Moor. Abraham Lincoln said that. Abraham Lincoln said he's not a Negro. He's a Moor. Why? Because in law, even to this day, in law right now, if you out your mouth agree to be a Negro, this is real time. If you say you're a color person, if you say you're a woman of color, if you say this is, don't y'all notice a pattern? They always keep saying these black folk, these color folk, this African American. Y'all don't see the pattern? But see, they running the game. But if they can get our people to agree to be subjected to that kind of poisonous identity, then you by your own consent are saying, I'm 3/5 of a man. I'm 3/5 of a woman. It's a dirty game. This is why when you say, man, Kush, man, you keep talking about nationality. You keep talking about this black and this white thing. Why you keep talking about the same thing with that? Because that's the gap. That's the gap. That's the gap between over here where you getting mistreated, tortured, shot in the street, slandered, dragged out your house, thrown on child support, etc., etc. That's black. That's African American. That's colored folk. That's them games over there. Those are 14th Amendment subject citizen treatments. On the other side, though, is free white person. What's that? Free white person is where our people are by law and birthright supposed to be. We not supposed to be on the other side of the bridge where we get mistreated, shot down, dragged out our house, dragged to court for child support, custody. All these different cases are for inferior statuses. It's your status. How do you fix it? How do you get to the other side of the bridge? You get to the other side of the bridge by knowing your nationality. Links you to your birthright, which links you to protection. By law, it's protection. Do you understand? When you want to get to the other side, you tired of dealing with being shot up, you tired of being harassed by the police, harassed by the judges, done dirty in the courtrooms, put on child support, and all these felonious cases that are unconstitutional, you got to come to the other side of the bridge. If you don't address this information, you're not going to get to the other side where you safe at. The other side where you secure at in your proper person. which is Moorish American. You can say what you want to, but if you keep the game going, don't complain about the prizes you keep getting. You keep playing a game that's rigged. The black colored African American Indian Pan-African game is rigged to the U.S. court. It's rigged by the U.S. corporation. But this is what happens. They will parade our people out here who look just like us. They will pay them to keep up the masquerade, the charade that they doing. It's a game. But it's a game that they playing for keeps because it's birthright death. This is why you can't let them get off on shit. You can't let them be like, you can't play around with them and be like, they didn't know. Well, if your ass ain't know, then why you talking about law then? Why you talking about history if you don't know? The people that do know is the ones that should be out here talking. You would think, right? But there's so many out here that's paid masqueraders. They paid to put the charade on. They get checks for that. Little do people realize the people out here that's telling you that you an Indian, you a black person, you color folk, they know that you Moors. The thing is, you don't know that you a Moor by birthright. This ain't something that you gotta join and be like, yeah, I'm a Moorish American now. This ain't that. This ain't something that you gotta join up with. Whether you realize it or not, it's in your DNA already. It's in your blood. You just ain't physically claimed it or verbally spoken it yet. Let me show you something else. Look. Let's go right here. Let's go right here. You see these pictures? You see these right here? This is from a church in Germany. Now look at their complexion. Where my keys at? Look at their complexion. Once again, receipts. See, they don't show y'all receipts. They get in front of the camera and just start talking. Don't nobody be showing y'all no receipts except competent Moors that show y'all receipts that you could trace because they got timestamps on them. They got dates on them. Depiction of Africa and so-called America. This image made in glorification of Christendom married another example of Christian colonization of Aboriginal people. See that? They made the dark complexion people pale skin in artwork. Why did they do that? Because they know psychology and they also know dark psychology. So when you put something in front of people, you keep showing them over and over and over a false depiction. They know psychologically people are gonna look at that and attach themselves to what they saw. It's psychology. And you also have dark psychology. So they showing you images of our people, right? But they whitewashed them and they put pale complexions on the images, on the pictures. So throughout history, you looking at your own people, but they put pale skin on them. They whitewashed them. So we thinking over here because of the schools, the sellouts, the colonization. When you hear European, when you hear that word European, the first thing that come to mind you would think of is a pale skin. But in reality, when you hear the word and you see the word European, the first Europeans were dark complexion, swarthy complexion, tawny complexion. They were not pale skinned people. What you would say are so-called Caucasians. They wasn't that. There was an internal sellout. Let's go to that. Let's go to that. Let's go to that. Let's go to that. Hold on. Here goes some more images. Here's some more images for you to see. Okay? Here's some more images for you to see. Okay? Images that you see. See that? See? See that? We're not Native Americans. No. We're not black. We're not colored. We're none of that. We Moors. We Moorish Americans. See that? See? So-called Africans was wearing the same clothes that we was wearing over here. But we're Moors though. Aboriginal and indigenous. Hold up. Hold up. Where's that page at? It's like this right here. Look at this. You see this right here? Now, keep in mind, what does that say? Look at it. It says Florida. How do you have lions in Florida? You got lions in Florida. Fam, this ain't the spam page. You got to stop spamming this page. This is not the spam page. All right? Appreciate you. See that? Florida. So you see, this is Florida, right? Look how they dressed. They're not Indians. They're not Native Americans. They're Moorish American. There's a difference. What's the difference? Native Americans, the term Native American in itself is a fraud. In itself is a fraud. How you gonna be native if you're not indigenous to this land? Contrary to what people been told, the word Indian does not mean indigenous. This is a part about what I said earlier about getting to the other side of the bridge. The other side of the bridge, when you get to the other side, when you cross that bridge, that's where your freedom at. That's where your peace gonna be at. Your salvation, your justice. That's where your love gonna be at. That's what you looking for, ain't you? Ain't you looking for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice? Those are 5 universal principles. Ain't that what you want? You want to be able to do as you do, come as you please. You got freedom. Don't you want somebody to tell you the truth? They don't want to lie to you, right? You don't want nobody to lie to you. Do you? Or you want somebody to just lie to you all up and down all day? That's what's been happening. So the people are the ones that got to unplug. We, the people, have to unplug mentally out of the comatose, out of the psychosis. Let me show you something. Look. So you will see this and you will be like, dang, what we finna do? Look at this. See that? Oh, let me show you this. Go back. Let me go back to this. Let me go back to this picture of Florida real quick. So in this picture, you see Florida, right? That also is an indication how lions were also indigenous to the Americas. Bing fucking bong. Lions are not indigenous solely to Africa. That's cap. Lions are indigenous to the Americas. You know, there used to be lions over here, giraffes over here. There used to be camels over here. All those animals that I'm naming, and more than that, they're all indigenous to the Americas. See that? You got lions over here, fam. And this is from a map, 1740. See that? See? See that? This is going on. Here go another picture for you to see. You can tell they Moorish American by their crown on their head, they turban, they fez, they feathers, their bandanas. See? The bandana and the feathers. These are indicators of a Moorish connection. See? These are all indicators of a Moorish connection. See? See that? Look, it's hard for many to imagine the Negro African figure being venerated as a god among the American Indians. He has always been represented as the lowest of the low, at least since the era of conquest and slavery. His humiliation as a world figure begins, in fact, with the coming of Columbus. It was in the very decade of his discoveries, quote unquote, that black and white Moors were laid low. See that? See? Once you destroy the image of something, you can make it believe. You can make somebody believe whatever you want to believe. This is why they did all the whitewashing with the artwork. This is why they burned a lot of the books. Because once you destroy the image of something, images are powerful. Our ancestors laid images around the world. Think about that. How can these people in Argentina have a same type Capitol building as the one in Washington, D.C.? Just think about that. That's South America, Argentina. Pick up the book, Tesla and the Cabbage Patch Kids. There's an image side by side of Argentina's Capitol building and the Capitol building in Washington, D.C., they're identical. Amongst all other so-called government buildings in North America, you go to China, you see the same kind of architecture. You go to Budapest, same type of architecture. You go to India, so-called India, Bharat. You go to Hindustan, you're going to see the same type of architecture. You go to Japan, you see what I'm naming? All that's Asia over there. You go to Europe, you're going to see stuff just like this. In Europe. It is. You see what's going on? Look, man. Look, it says clearly these indigenous inhabitants of so-called South America are Asiatic and of African ancestry, present-day Argentina, Cordoba, Peru, and Brazil, Chile. See that? Bolivia, Santa Cruz, Rio de Janeiro. Come on, fam. You know what it be too, though? You know what it be too? Look, this is what we talking about our people suffering from a mental psychosis. Let me explain. You said you wanted answers, right? You said, well, how do we get out of this position that we in? Well, our so-called black people keep getting treated like shit. You got to get out of your mental psychosis. What is psychosis? Psychosis is an unnatural condition, a defect of the mind, causing disoriented thinking and superficial emotions created by schisms with various forms of complex behavioral and personality disorders. Pause. How many of us can see, who got eyes to see and ears to hear? You see our people who look just like us have completely different mentalities. You got some people that don't care about shit. They just want to be a savage. That's not who we are. We're not savages by nature. That's indoctrination. We're loving, natural, appreciative people by nature. That's our what you say, godly design. You don't see us, our people, I'm talking about Moorish people. You don't see us going to Africa and other parts of the world just killing shit. Showing you the difference between our nature as Moors versus a European nature, hybrids. They the ones that's called big game hunters. They go out there to the safari land and go kill a lion, go shoot a tiger or something, cut the head off, put it on the wall and hang it up there. We don't do that because that's not our nature to do that. We don't come from that. We come from being appreciative of nature. You don't see no dark complexion people going out there big game hunting, killing shit. And if you do, I ain't never seen none, but if you do, it's rare. Super rare. Look at this. It says, stemming from the traumas of colonization, to be alienated from one's own culture, detached from reality, and to suffer cultural amnesia. Each casualty becomes psychologically impaired to the extent that they can be induced into self-resentment. The victim is prone to reject, deny, or dismiss their own identity, lineage, past, or parent culture. Wow. There was a lot right there. That was a lot right there. That was a lot. It said the people can be induced into self-resentment. You hate yourself. You literally hate yourself. That's the kind of psychosis that our people are in. Got to call it out. Got to be real. Our people are in a psychological psychosis, amnesia, self-resentment mindset. They hate themselves. This is why you can have somebody tell you they love you, and the first thing you say is, I don't believe you. But if somebody turn around and say they hate you, the first thing you say is, I hate you too. See that? See? That's psychosis. Somebody tell you they love you, you don't believe what they say. But somebody come out their face and tell you they hate you, you not only believe them, but you say you hate them too. And when somebody telling you the truth, people nowadays are so programmed with psychosis, they say, if you don't like it, you hating. What? If I don't like something that's bogus and false, I'm hating. But the shit that's bogus and false, the people under brainwashing, they call it true. See? Self-resentment. Look, it's self-resentment. See that? A victim mentality. You reject, deny, dismiss your own identity. See that? The inability to identify with their relationship to their culture, thus separating themselves and interpreting their culture from a foreign third-party perspective. Damn. What does that mean? Case in point. Y'all got passports, right? You travel. You go to different places around the world, right? When you go to, let's say you go to Dubai, Emirates. You go there. People love talking about going to Dubai and all that, right? You go over there. You see them, or you go to Egypt, Morocco over there. You think when you see them going over there, you think when they wearing a turban, when they wearing a shamag, when they wearing a fez, when they're wearing their faces wrapped up, looking all exotic. The colonization, the psychosis that's pumped and programmed in North America and the Caribbeans is that's a foreign culture. They're foreigners. In reality though, that's our culture. This our culture, fam. It's our culture. It's all our culture. So when you got us looking at foreigners, they wearing our drip. Let me say that again. The people who we're looking at around the world, whether shamag, whether turban, whether fez, they're not the first ones that was doing that. They ain't the first ones that was rocking that. We was. So when you return to yourself, when you start looking at yourself from not just a present version, when you start looking at yourself from an ancient and modern version, you time travel back to your ancient self, where you can reconnect yourself and get over the bridge. Islam. Peace, more. When you reconnect yourself with your ancient self, your ancient mind, you're going to start thinking move different. You're going to start speaking different. You're not going to do the same things you used to do. Once you start connecting your side, you start connecting that bridge to the other side. See, they don't want us to connect the bridge though. The U.S. corporation, they make trillions upon trillions. Islam, they make trillions upon trillions of dollars off our people suffering. The sellouts of our own people who tell you to your face and know they lying that you a black woman, that you a black man. They know they lying. They get trillions, millions, thousands of dollars to lie to you. You understand? They're lying to your faces. But the psychosis that's programmed amongst our people is we got to stay down, lay down, and take it. Fuck that. We ain't got to lay down, stay down, and take shit from imposters and traitors. Because that's exactly what they is. They traitors. They're traitors, fam. It's no other way you can put it to be like, oh, we're going to make it nice and massage it and be politically correct. Fuck that. They traitors. Anybody playing around with you and your birthright is a traitor. And you know, traitors back in the day used to get the guillotine, get their head cut off. Traitors back in the day used to get the guillotine. You get your shit cut off. But that's coming back around though. Look, let me show y'all something. Check it out. Let me show y'all something. Because you got to see this. You got to see this. See, once you see it, you ain't going to be able to unsee it. Look. Say this right here. Once you see it, you're not going to be able to unsee it. They're not going to be able to tell you that you're a black man no more. They're not going to be able to tell you that you're a black woman no more. Why is that? Why can't they tell you no more? Because now you're going to know. Now you gonna know how dangerous, how deadly it's been that these people been playing in your face, calling you a black man, calling you a black woman. Look, linguistically, we can easily conclude that the term black is a derivation from Middle English, black, B-L-A-K. Check it out. Old English, blick, B-L-A-E-C. Old High German, blah. Latin, flegari. Greek, Phalasian. Check it out. It says, and it has undergone several transformations, variants, or phases of morphology into its modern form, with black being the offspring of modern English. It indicates to us that quote unquote black was not being used to refer to people prior to the 1100s and 1400s, or during the pre-Columbian era. Simply put, the term black did not exist, and thereby cannot have a definitive application to people or a solidified place in the context of any spoken languages or written literature prior to pre-Columbian civilization. OMG. Wow. From the book, We Are Not Black. From this book. Oh yeah. So when they talk this black shit, when they talk that color it's not about you saying you're black. But that's the word that I chose because our people can relate to the word black. Our people can connect themselves with the word black. You've been connecting yourself with a word that means dead in law. It means dead in the universe. It's one thing to like to wear the color black. You could love to wear the color black. My shades is black. This shirt got some black in it. I got some black and white Pumas on. It's nothing wrong with loving the color black as something you wear. You put black on. You can't be black though, because black is an adjective. It's not even part of the 7 colors. Do you realize that black ain't even part of the rainbow? And the white that's in the rainbow, it symbolizes the light from the universe. You understand? This is why in the scriptures it says, let there be light. It didn't say let there be black, because you can't see in the dark. You see? See that? It's like when you say, I got a bright idea. Yeah, you got a bright idea. You ain't got a black idea, do you? You gotta make it make sense. When the last time you ever heard somebody say, I got a black idea? I got a black mind. But they'd try to make it cool like black girl magic. They'd try to make it cool like, what they say? What they say? You just, what did it say? It's a black thing. What do you mean it's a black thing? What are you talking about? Black thing. What does that mean? Imagine somebody saying it's a yellow thing. It's an orange thing. What? It's only the people that's in North America that's under this spell like that. It's really only the people in North America. It's really the people that are in North America that are under the spell of colorism and psychosis. It's really the only thing. Yeah, Black Lives Matter. What? If you think about that and how that shit started and where they ended up at now, they owe $90 million back to them people that gave all them donations. Where your money at? Where your money? Where that money at? You donated all that bread and they ain't got shit to show for it. Where's that $90 million at? That should be the first thing I'm putting press on. I'm pressing you. Where that $90 million at? Where that bread at? You talking about where the money at? If it don't make money, it don't make no sense. Where that $90 million at? That Black Lives Matter collected from all them people that sent all them donations in? Where that bread at? Why don't you press them about that bread? All y'all out there talking about we black and proud. Where that $90 million at that they took from y'all? Because they really took it. Because they finessed you to get you to identify with a crayon color. So where that $90 million at, Black Lives Matter? Crickets. Crickets. Hold up. Crickets. Huh? Crickets. And don't forget the word Negro. When they call you a Negro, look, the term Negro means necessarily person of color. But every person of color is Negro. Well, it says, but not every person of color is Negro. These are law cases. All these are law cases. This ain't opinion. So if they not showing you no facts, why you listening to them? The Pan-Africans, why you listening to them? Huh? Where that $90 million at? BLM. Ain't nobody raising no eyebrows. Ain't nobody raising no kind of, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody putting no pressure on them for extorting people under fraudulent terms. Where that $90 million at? But you talking about, we ain't no Moorish Americans though. Evidently, the people that extorted you out of $90 million, they got away with it. Y'all ain't putting no pressure on them, so they fell back. 90 million though? 90 million though. Just imagine that number. Imagine that number. What you could do with 90 million. You talking about economics. Right, Islam, or what you could do. What can you do with $90 million right now? Astronomical. Astronomical. And you donated it to this place, this organization. Let me ask y'all a question. Out of that $90 million, have you seen anything change for the better for so-called black people? Let me just ask y'all a question. What has changed for the positive with people who identify with that organization, BLM? What has changed? What has been prosperous? Huh? I'm just going to ask y'all that. 90 M's? 90? What? What could you do with $90 million? Type shit. Exactly. Fuck no. Nothing has changed. Nothing will change. Why won't anything change? Because the word black, Latino, Hispanic, what you say, Indian, all those are misnomers. They're not connected to law, Constitution. They're not connected with nothing. That's why it's like pouring money in a bucket, and the whole bucket on the bottom got a giant hole in the bottom of the bucket. So all that money people giving out went into a bucket that the whole bottom of the bucket got a hole in it. The whole bucket on the bottom got a hole in it. You just threw your bread up in there. So when you saying where the money at, where that $90 million at, BLM? You talking about 90 M's, economics. And you think Allah not gonna get back for that? You think Allah not gonna get back to that? Yeah, all right. This is what happened. Look. This is what happened. You so used to looking at these images look like this. These are European versions. Remember, pictures speak 1,000 words. So imagine what a movie can do. This is how we used to look. When the pale-skinned Europeans got into a little bit of political power, the first thing they started doing was changing the images from being like this to this. See? See? From this, they changed it to that. This is how they was. They was looking like this, right? Then they start changing the images like this. These are all copycat fraudulent images. But again, images. speak 1,000 words. So if all you know is you looking at this picture and you looking at it from a mentality like the white people, those are white people. You right where they want you to stay at. You in the place of cognitive dissonance. See? And what's cognitive dissonance? Cognitive dissonance is an individual who looks at something. It doesn't matter how many facts you give them. It don't matter. You could drop a ether bomb of facts and information on this individual, this person. If somebody has cognitive dissonance, it doesn't matter how many facts you drop on them. It don't matter how many books you show them. Their mind is stuck. It's not moving. First thing they gonna do is deny it. They gonna slander it. They gonna ignore it, or they gonna hate on it. This is how the mind of somebody who suffers from cognitive dissonance operates. This how they coming. Right. Or they don't give a F. They don't give a F about it. That's the mind of somebody who got cognitive dissonance. So that's a dangerous person. Why? Why is that person dangerous? Because that's a person who could turn on you. See, they could turn on you because they're easily manipulated because they don't do no research. A person like that can be easily manipulated. You could make them do anything. If I show you this on TV, if I show you this enough through repetition, that it's on TV and everybody on the news talking about it, that person can be finessed, manipulated. You can do whatever you want to do with this person. They're going to be like, CBD seeds. That's a good thing for everybody. Central bank digital currency ain't good for nobody. But and to them though, they not looking at it like totalitarianism. They not looking at it like that. You can totally control somebody if everything goes digital. You can totally control everything. I can control your transactions. I can control your flow. I can control where you go. I can cut your electric car off when I want to in a 15-minute city. I can cut all your shit off. I could cut your bank account off if I want to. That's digital totalitarianism. This is why they're pushing for what you say CBDCs, central bank digital currency. This is what they're pushing it for. So when you put your thumb on your phone and then you do the biometric scan on your eyeballs and shit, they prepping people to get comfortable with digital totalitarianism. You ain't even gonna think about it no more because now they got you programmed. Touch your phone. Touch this in the grocery store. Put your fingerprint on there. Now they got you. You've been doing it so long, you've actually been programming yourself to be cool with it when they drop it on everybody. And be like, in order to get in this store, you gotta put your fingerprint on the door. You gotta put your fingerprint, your thumbprint on the door to get in the store and to not pay for it. You see? They're programming people. Look. How much time we got? Okay. Let me show you this. Because you need to see this. You need to see this. See this? Virginia, 1682. Look. The christening of Aboriginal people misclassified as Negro. Watch this. Virginia, 1682. Act 1. It is enacted that all servants which shall be imported into this country, either by sea or by land, whether Negroes, Moors, Muslim North Africans, mulattoes, or Indians, whose parentage and native countries are not Christian. And you out here talking about you a Christian. You loud, proud, and wrong. Hear that? Hear that? So, at the time of their first purchase to some Christian and all Indians, which shall be sold by our neighboring Indians. Hold on. Wait. What? Hold up, let me move close on that. Let me move close on that. You see that right there? All y'all out there promoting this Indian bullshit narrative. This is from 1682, Virginia. This is an actual document. Huh? And if you want a receipt on this, you can go to Before the Mayflower, a history book of Black America. This is from Penguin Books, 1983. Black Laws of Virginia, Negro University Press, 1969, Greenwood Publishing Group. So this is not an opinion. No. This ain't no opinion now. Hold up. It say what? It say, and all Indians, which shall be sold by our neighboring Indians. That means it was a sellout amongst the Indians too. Because Indians are the ones that sold us out. Including our own people sold us out. So you ain't safe because you said you're an Indian. You ain't safe. Indians sold each other out. Indians were selling black slaves. Look, it say, Indians or any other trafficking with us for slaves and hereby adjudged, deemed, and taken to be slaves to all intents and purposes of any law, usage, or custom to the contrary notwithstanding. Damn, you thought you was safe saying that you was an Indian. Wow. You thought you was safe saying that you was an Indian. Damn. Wake up call. Wake up call. It's your wake up call. Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's your wake up call. You thought you was safe saying that you was an Indian? And the Indians was the ones out here selling you as slaves, so-called Black Americans. You were getting sold by Indians as slaves. But you still think that you a so-called Indian, though. Wow. And you saying that shit with your chest like you really saying something. I'm an Indian. I'm an Indian descent. I'm a Native American. I'm a Indian. What? Indians were selling people, so-called black people, as slaves. What you mean? Yeah, I'm West Indian. Think about it right now with a real clear mind. India, so-called India, is over there in Asia. Asia is a continent. So-called India is a country in that continent, right? How could you be West Indian if India is in Asia? I really want you to think about that. How could you be West Indian if India is in Asia? India, so-called India, is in Eastern Asia. How could you be West Indian if the Caribbeans, the islands, are in the Americas? How could you be that, but be that? Yo, how could you be that, Sway? It's the same thing. If you look up the word Europeans in the dictionary, it says, I'll give you the name of the book. One of the book, the dictionaries. It's Scott Forsman's Advanced Dictionary. Right? You look that up and it says European pertains to anyone of European descent. That's a European. How could anybody that fits that definition be an American? Yo! It's called birthright theft. They're Europeans. They're pretending to be you as an American. Do you understand now? This is why pale skins, they love to say that they're white people. Our people unknowingly call these people white people, not realizing that they're violating law. They're violating language. They're violating treaty law. They're violating universal law. This is not man-made law. When you say free white person, not only is it that title belong to Moorish American nationals, that title does not mean Caucasian race. Let that process. Look up, Google Henry Campbell Black's Law Edition, 4th edition, definition of free white person. It does not mean Caucasian race. So by that and that alone, pale-skinned Europeans can never be white people. You said you wanted answers. You said you wanted to get to the other side where you got freedom, you ain't getting hated on, you ain't getting mistreated, you ain't getting abused. You got to get this information in your head and be able to exercise it from your mind out your mouth in real time. You ain't got time to sit down all the time, get a book, recite some information. You got to know this information like you know your phone number. Islam. You got to know this like you know your phone number. At least enough to defend yourself in a verbal attack. At least enough to defend yourself in signing a contract. How to sign a contract. Why not to sign a contract. The contracts are not just physical. The contracts are also verbal. So when you open your mouth up, you're making a verbal contract, whether you realize it's happening or not. You're making a verbal contract. When your mouth opens and words come out, you're putting out a contract. That's what's happening. So when you say, well, you're a black person, you just made a contract to the universe. So the universe is going to give you back what you've been saying you is. They're going to give you bogus treatment, mistreatment, abuse. You're going to suffer. But what does it say in the scripture? It says what? Honor your mothers and your fathers, so your days shall be longer on the earth that I have given thee, or Allah has given thee, or God has given thee. We have not been honoring our ancient foremothers and forefathers as Moorish Americans. Bing bong. And if you want to get to the other side of the bridge, where you got freedom, truth, you got justice, you got peace, if you want to get to that side, you got to get away from black. If you stand on the black side, stay your ass over there. Just don't complain why you ain't got no peace, freedom, you ain't got no truth, you ain't got nothing but abuse. Police keep shooting us all the time because you on that color shit, you on that black shit. You stand over there, that's what come with that. What come with that is mistreatment, abuse. Plain and simple. If you stay in the color game that's rigged by the U.S. corporation, that's what come with that. Plain and simple. It ain't no, you need to go talk about something deep and talk about something. Nah, we gonna keep it right here. You keep pledging your allegiance to that kind of treatment. That's what you doing. You pledging your allegiance to say, man, just go ahead and abuse me. Go ahead and trick me. Go on finesse me. Because you're agreeing to be death, which is black. Black, according to science, means death. That's what it means. It means death. So you want to identify with the dead, or you want to identify with life, which is more? Your choice. It's your choice. It's all your choice. It's all your choice. You choose what you want to do. It's your choice, though. Just don't say you weren't told. So once again, We Are Not Black, available on Amazon, written by my brother Truth Ali. Need to get this in your life. You see what Benjamin Franklin wrote, though, right? How we are Moors, tawny, and swarthy complexion. The only people that's tawny and swarthy complexion are Moors. That would be us. And all of our other cousins around the world. But I'm hope y'all tuning in. I'm glad y'all tuned in for the beam out. Like I said, I'm finna go cut. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Much love. Study, 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 and teach your babies. I self-law and master. Peace, boys.